thank everybody for coming. We've got the same people here, same group we've had for the last 4 months. So, and you people online, thank you very much. Can you hear me okay? Is my voice coming through all right? All right. I like the thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. Good. I wanted to talk a little bit about, well, everything, the basics of life, we'll call it. And then we'll do a meditation, probably kind of a simple meditation. We've been kind of doing a lot of different stuff lately. Like last week we did a interval meditation based on inquiry, and inquiry is a wonderful practice. It's probably one of the primary paths next to meditation, and that meditation that we did last week combined the two. So I thought it was pretty cool. Inquiry and meditation usually don't go hand in hand, but we found a way to do it. And inquiry is just asking ourselves in different ways, different styles of who we are, what we are, and that's why it's called inquiry, also called self-inquiry. I suppose putting that self in there is very, very much a part of the practice. Self-inquiry, find out who the self is, or more importantly, who the self isn't, who we are not, and who we are. And we'll do some more work in that area. But tonight I want to talk a little bit about meditation in the area of the Buddhist practices and the adherence to what Buddhism is all about, in a way. So when we talk about the basics of Buddhism, we have to go to the Four Noble Truths, the first teaching of the Buddha. Basically, he said that we suffer, and we suffer because of our desires. And in essence, what he was saying, of course, first of all, he was not saying what I'm saying because he didn't speak English, first of all, and everything's been translated. The Buddha didn't write anything down, but Ananda, his nephew and assistant, wrote a lot of things down and had this amazing memory. And that's why we have the Buddhist teachings. But what he was basically saying, not that desires were so bad. I mean, desires are very natural. We want to be careful of what we do desire, but more importantly, the attachment, that is a part of that desire. And, when we look at that, I think we can all agree, well, that's where things get pretty sticky. Pun intended, I guess. Attachments lead to suffering because we find this agreement with something that this thing will provide a certain amount of happiness for me, and so we adhere to it. Mentally or physically, we like this thing, but with the rule of impermanence, it doesn't last. And then so we suffer. So if we desire something and we can somehow desire it without attachment, then we'd be okay. But desire is just that. It's desiring. It's kind of in the word. I desire this or I desire that. So attachment is very interesting. When we look at different degrees of attachment, it's like different degrees of suffering, and it's like an agreement that we can make with ourselves. There's the liking, the desire of I like something. I can probably live without it. It's just nice, And when that thing is gone, then it is. It's not so much of a big deal. It's the suffering isn't there. It's just real common sense. But if we desire something more substantial, it is very, it can very much be a difficulty for us to almost be kind of ripped away from that. And I'll take care of that. And so we have to really, really be careful about these attachments, being attached to anything, because it just simply means that we will suffer as a consequence. And that's one of the primary teachings of Buddhism, because it ties everything together. As I mentioned, we become attached to something, and because of that law of impermanence, which is a part of the insights of Buddhism, and it's just a common fact that everything deteriorates, everything changes, everything fades away. And so all these things that we are drawn to and that we like so much will change, and we will change too. So being attached to something like a certain kind of food, or let's say I like a certain kind of coffee in the morning. If I don't have that particular coffee in the morning, that desire, and if it is not fulfilled, that's no big deal. And so the level of suffering isn't really that big of a thing. If I would lose my home and become, what we call homeless, that would be a big deal. I think it would be a big deal to all of us not to have a place to come home to, If the economy crashed and we lost everything, we would be suffering quite a bit. If we're used to having a car, driving around in a car, and then we didn't have that car, we would suffer, because we're attached to these things. But these things it's very common, and it's a very common way of life for us. And it's almost like an agreement. I really like this thing, and I'm really going to be suffering if I don't have it. So we do whatever we can to have it, to have it in our life. It's interesting when, and it's all an agreement. When my father died in December, before he died, he had a couple of homes. He had actually a couple of cars at one time, and he willingly gave all this stuff up. It was a process, but he sold his homes and sold his car. He actually gave up he willfully gave up his right to drive. And he said, "I'm not going to drive anymore." It was like, really? That was a relief, because we didn't know what to do about that. How are we going to get that driver's license out from him, And he gave it all up. He gave his car away and took care of all that. He just basically had his clothes, had enough stuff to live in the small room, but he still had his attachments. His private bathroom was his big attachment, and he almost could live anywhere as long as there was a private bathroom. He didn't want to give up that private bathroom because he had a lot of bathroom things going on. 95 years old, you're going to cherish that bathroom. You're going to use that bathroom. And so that was obviously an attachment that he had. And Terry and I did everything we could for him to have that private bathroom, and he did. He had that bathroom, and there were certain foods that he liked, and we tried to provide that for him, and just so to kind of make things nice, not to necessarily ease his suffering, because he had other ideas of suffering at that point. But so the point is that it's all variable. But when we really take a look at these attachments, some of the biggest attachments, and this is why we actually meditate. We meditate to understand who we are. That's why we do inquiry too, like we did last week. We ask ourselves these questions to find out who we are. We go into meditation to go within And when we go within, we discover more about this stuff. And when I point like this is just a symbol to mean I, or who we are, but not the body. And the reason I say that is because if we think we are the body, this is a huge attachment. The body is a huge attachment. And it's going to be gone. And when we do, we're going to, if we believe that this is us, we're going to suffer. You know, that's a huge attachment. Even if we believe that we are the mind, we believe our thoughts, we believe that we are our memories, and all of these things, we're going to suffer because that's going to be gone as well. And the way everything is designed, when I believe that there's a rebirth, and when that happens, there's that veil of forgetfulness where we don't remember these things. So if we believe that we are the body and we are the mind, that is a huge attachment for us. And so what we're trying to do in meditation is to ease that by understanding what we truly are. And we are, from, I guess, my definition, from Buddhist definition, from Hindu definition, we are the one that watches all of this. We are the one that is aware of the body. We are the one that is aware of the thoughts, aware of the memories, aware of the mind stuff, you know, the mental things that go on. So there's this awareness, and that is more likened to what we are rather than the body and the mind. And it's something that it's so subjective that we can't define it, we can't see it, we can't put it into words what that is. We can only experience it. And that's why we meditate, to experience our true nature. And then when we get done meditating, and even if we, you know, the goal, I think, for a lot of people is to waken up to this idea of who we are, who we truly are. This knowing, you know, this witness that we are, and to waken up, or to become enlightened to this fact. And we do that through meditation, but also what's happening is that we're easing our suffering because of the lack of attachment that we're bringing ourselves to by understanding that we are not the body and we are not the mind. So we're really doing ourselves a huge favor by meditating, by understanding this stuff, you know, by going back to the Buddha's very first teaching, that we suffer because of our desires, because of our attachments. And that's the biggest attachment. Another attachment that's equal to that, since we're on the subject of attachments, is the attachment of control, to be in control of the body, to be in control of the mind, to be in control of the situation, to be in control of our lives, to basically live the way we want to and die the way we want to. And when that control is hampered with, when we see that we're not in control, then we suffer, because we have an attachment to that ability to control things, to control our situation. And of course, the opposite of all of this is the ability to let go, you know, to surrender or to renounce. And in meditation, when we understand the self more and more and more and more, that letting go, that surrender is automatic. It's not a job, it's not even part of the practice, really. You know, just to be open to the fact that we are going to be have this ability to surrender, you know, to surrender our idea of who we are. And so that's really what meditation comes down to after the initial welcoming committee. And what I mean by that is, usually when people start meditating, they might be very inquisitive about the practice. They might meet somebody that's a meditator, and the meditator might seem a little less on edge than they are or something, so they want to explore it. But oftentimes a person comes to meditation because they have something that they want to fix. There's something that they want to make better in their lives. And there's nothing wrong with that, That's one of the primary reasons that people, are on the search, on the spiritual search. And part of that spiritual search is meditation itself, to have this practice. So the first noble truth was that we suffer. That's a pretty good truth. I mean, just being human, we do suffer. The second noble truth is that we suffer because of our desires or our attachments. The third noble truth is that there is a way to resolve all this. There is hope, and that is through the fourth area of the four noble truths, and that is the path that we should take to do this. And that's what Buddha taught. He taught this path. And part of this path is meditation. Part of it is wisdom, some of the teachings. And the other part is, of the path is morality. So we have wisdom, morality, and the practices of meditation. And when we look at that, we could say that awareness is up here, wisdom, morality, practices, kind of like a branch, and then from those three things coming down, we then have these other streams, from the area of wisdom, we have understanding and the correct view. We don't really have time to go into all this, but they're a huge part of the teachings of Buddhism, to understand the aspect of letting go, to understand compassion and loving kindness, and to understand the law of karma, why things are what they are. And then we get into the area of morality, and that is to be careful with our speech, what is called correct speech. Our actions, to refrain from stealing and killing and intoxicants and things like that, and that is correct action. And to be careful and be very aware of what we do for most of our time in the day, and that's our jobs, correct livelihood or right livelihood, skillful livelihood. That's the area of morality. And then when we come into the practices, it's skillful effort, because we're putting in effort. We're doing it right now. We met as a group, and we're going to do some meditation. There's some effort behind that. It's joyful, I hope, for most of us, but there's some effort there. And then the other areas are correct mindfulness, or the idea of practicing insight or vipassana, and then correct or skillful concentration, which is a part of really the heart of meditation. Concentration is a part of all meditation practices. And backing up, mindfulness can be practiced on the cushion or off the cushion. And effort is to remember all these things and to practice them on a consistent basis. So that's the Eightfold Path, which is really the heart of the Buddhist teachings, especially in the Theravada or Theravada tradition. And that's where my background comes from, the Theravada tradition, which means Thailand and Sri Lanka, Burma and Cambodia, and these places. That's where that type of Buddhism came from, as opposed to Tibet and China and Japan and Korea, where the Mahayana Buddhism comes from. And here we are in the United States, which is a melting pot for all of this stuff, all these isms. Hinduism, Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, or Theravada Buddhism, all these isms. What other isms are there? Sufism, Judaism, yeah, for sure. Satanism, thank you.
Yeah,
Paganism, yeah. So we're in this melting pot. So I think we'll do a very basic meditation. Well, it'll start out basic anyway. And let's do it. I'd like to do a scanning meditation. We talked about understanding the body. And scanning is really designed for us to relax and work with the body. And the idea here is to be very, very careful to notice any kind of attachments while we're meditating. Even when we're doing something like scanning, if there's a, it sounds silly maybe, but if there's a particular part of the body that we feel comfortable with, like we're meditating and we're trying to relax the shoulders, for example, and we go, oh, that feels so good. I think I'll just stay here and work on those shoulders. That is a very subtle form of attachment. And so we want to, just to educate ourselves as much as we can, we want to investigate all this and see where our attachments go all the time, even when we're meditating. What are our attachments? And of course, I'm talking about the body, but the real signal is the mind. Where does the mind go when we're trying to focus? Does it go into the past? Or does it go back to something that was really nice, or something like a wonderful meal we had earlier in the day or yesterday or something, or this person that we're attached to? Does it when the mind sort of gets a break from what we're trying to do with meditation, does it immediately go to this attachment, to this person or whatever it might be, to this new car that we're thinking about buying or whatever? Or does it go into the future? Like mine will usually go into the future in the area of fixing things. I want to, fix the fence, fix the refrigerator, fix a person's problems, or fix my problems, or whatever it is. So I have to really watch that mind going into the future to fix something. I'm going to go out there and fix the world, that kind of thing. So we want to watch all those things. And that's we can get a huge education about ourselves in meditation. And if we can do that in meditation, of course, then we can do it outside of meditation. All right, so please make yourself comfortable. And if you're on the cushion, elevate your hips a little bit and try to get your hips higher than your knees. If you're in a chair, you'll kind of feel, to be comfortable even in a chair, you'll notice that your knees are slightly lower than your hips, just like you would be if you're sitting in a cushion. I usually suggest people not lean against anything. It's a real hard habit to break, but if you're doing that and if that's what you're used to doing, by all means, you go ahead and do it. I'm not trying to conform anybody into doing anything, but you want to keep the back straight. And the reason I don't lean against something is because I get drowsy when I do that, and I want to keep that energy going. And then let's try to I have to remind myself to kind of lift up the chin from time to time, and just to stay focused and use the breath as much as I can. So I'll guide you through this scanning meditation. It'll be a very basic meditation for lots of you, and then there will be a period of silence. So again, please make yourself comfortable. Close the eyes. Ask yourself, how do you feel in this moment? Kind of a type of labeling. Do you feel good? Do you feel excited? Do you feel tired? Do you feel happy? What comes to mind? Just kind of remember that word or those couple of words. I am relaxed. I am happy. I am happy to be here. Bring your attention to the breath. We're going to be using the breath along with a scanning practice. We're going to actually breathe through these different areas of the body in order to relax them. Just a side note, this can also be used as a setup practice. A setup practice is something that you can do before your regular practice. You can spend 5 or 10 minutes doing a scanning practice like this in preparation for your regular meditation practice, or you can use this kind of practice all by itself, like we'll be doing this evening. So where do you feel the breath? The tip of the nose, the sinuses, around the windpipe, the throat. Do you feel the breath in the chest? Maybe the expansion of the lungs. I usually like to keep the breath what I call in front of me. In other words, around the nostrils, around the nose. And that way I can feel the temperature and use the temperature for the coolness of the inhalation and the warmth of the exhalation, just as a little added sensation. And we want to make the breath our friend. Because it's a wonderful, wonderful tool that we can use on the cushion or off the cushion. Just bringing our attention to the breath has a very calming effect. And we don't have to be meditators to know this, although it certainly helps. So breathing very normal, breathing very natural. Bring your attention to the top of the body at the forehead and even the top of the head. Just spend a few moments imagining that the exhalation of the breath is the breath that you're using to breathe into or breathe through these areas. And as you do this, become very aware of these areas of the body, the top of the head, and the forehead, and all around these areas too. So as you exhale, you're softening and relaxing these areas and using the breath itself, to seemingly breathe through or breathe into these areas and relax them as you do that. You're not manipulating the breath, you're not changing it. You're breathing in, and then as you exhale, just imagine that that breath is breathing into the area of the body that you're relaxing. And try to keep your attention on this area of the breath, particularly on the exhalation, relaxing it. But you want to make sure that you don't lose that awareness, lose that concentration when you breathe in. And now moving this awareness down into the area of the eyes, relaxing the eyebrows, the eyelids, the eyeballs themselves, if you can, around the corners of the eye. And around the area, if you're wearing glasses, along the sides of the head, along the temple, back into the tops of the ears, that whole area there. See if you can relax that. If you're wearing a mask like Zorro, that mask would be a mask of relaxation along the eyes and around the back of the eyes, or the side. Using the breath, exhaling, relaxing this area. Just concentrate on this area by itself. This is the type of practice that a person, if they're doing hypnotherapy, where the therapist would say that your eyelids are getting heavy, your eyelids are getting drowsy, very heavy, and you would maybe make the suggestion that you could not open your eyes because they're so heavy. This is the kind of feeling that you want. We're not doing hypnosis, but we're doing some relaxation. We're discovering who we are. Especially on the exhalation of the breath. Now bring your awareness into the area of the cheeks, around the nose, area of the cheeks, and then along the sides, the ears themselves. Maybe the back of the head. And then as you exhale, relax this area as much as you can. There's very small muscles, and it might seem like it's very difficult to relax this area, but it's very possible. Inhaling, exhaling. In and out. Now allow this awareness to come down into the area of the jaw. And this is an area that gets very little attention when it comes to relaxing. Just breathing in, breathing out. Use the exhalation to relax that area. And then when we relax the jaw, we also relax the tongue. This is something that many people fail to do, but it has a very profound effect on the relaxation of the entire body. Breathing in, breathing out. Just relaxing the tongue itself produces really a huge amount of alpha brain waves, even theta brain waves. has a major effect on the activity of the neurons within the brain. Something related to talking and related to communication and eating. And so see if you can notice any kind of change by relaxing the tongue, the jaw. Be sure to use the breath when you exhale. That's the most relaxing part of the breath upon the exhalation. Now move this awareness down into the area of the neck and the shoulders. Exhaling, relaxing the neck and the shoulders. This is the area that could generally use a lot of work for a lot of people. Just imagine that you're taking off that proverbial backpack full of rocks. Feeling lighter. Now let this relaxation move down from the shoulders into the arms, relaxing the biceps. As you exhale, using the breath, let that relaxation move down the arms, past the elbows into the forearms. And then as you exhale, let this relaxation go into the hands. Relaxing all the fingers, the wrists. And if it's helpful, imagine any stress or tension leaving the body through the fingertips, where it goes out into the atmosphere, leaving the body. And from a systematic viewpoint, we are halfway done with the body, and see if there's kind of back up and see if there's any areas of the body that you'd like to hit again, maybe the shoulders or the jaw. Maybe even the forehead, area of the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the jaw. Make sure that all of this is relaxed. The neck, the biceps and the forearms and the hands. Now with the inhalation, then an exhalation, bring your attention to the torso of the body, relaxing the area between the shoulder blades, the upper back, with an exhalation of the breath. focus on this area a little bit. Inhaling, exhaling, relaxing. Inhaling, exhaling, relaxing. And now bring this awareness to the front of the body in the area of the chest or the heart. Relaxing this area with an exhalation of the breath. Inhale, exhaling, relaxing the middle of the back and around the front of the body in the area of the sternum or the upper stomach, if we will prefer to call it that. Breathing nice and easy. And inhaling, exhaling, relaxing the lower back. This is an area that we could probably linger here a while if we wanted to, but we don't want to play any favorites. The lower back seems to contain and hold stress from other areas of our lives. With an exhalation of the breath, just completely relax it as much as you can. Soften all the muscles, all the joints, all the tendons. And then relax the area, the front of the stomach or front of the body around the stomach itself. From the lower back around the front with an exhalation of the breath. The entire torso should be fairly relaxed. That's the idea. You kind of use a sweeping motion as you exhale. Little waves of relaxation move down the body. Inhaling, exhaling. And breathing in and breathing out. Bring your attention to the hips. Relaxing the hips, kind of letting them settle into your cushion or chair. Making sure that everything is balanced. Let your awareness move down into the legs, relaxing the thighs, and the hamstrings, the front of the legs and the back of the legs, above the knees. These are actually the longest muscles in the body, and for many people it's very easy to relax these momentarily. Just see how it feels. And other people seem to have difficulty relaxing these long muscles. Inhaling, exhaling, relax the knees. very little blood flow in the knees, but if we can actually relax them and find some flexibility in them. Let this awareness move down the legs into the area of the shins and the calves, using the breath, exhaling relaxation. And let this awareness move down into the area of the ankles and down to the feet, the tops of the feet and the bottoms of the feet. And relaxing the toes. And if you like, imagine any stress or tension leaving the body through the toes, the same way you did with the fingertips. Visualize or imagine the body with no stress or tension in it at all. How would that feel? No stress or tension in the body whatsoever. And it's like that stress or tension is just a reminder for us that the more attached we become to the body, the more pain and suffering we'll have. If we're starting from a clean slate, no stress or tension in the body, and anytime any stress enters that area, just see if you can let it go. So relaxing the body again and again and again. Every breath, every exhalation, become more and more relaxed while holding a nice stable posture. Now do a little sweeping every exhalation of the breath. Start at the top of the body, at the head. And every time you exhale, let waves of relaxation go through the body from the top all the way down to the feet. Every time there's an exhalation of the breath, one after another. Sweeping away any stress or tension. Making room for comfort, surrender, and compassion. Just continue breathing, relaxing, being very, very aware of the body. Sit in silence for a few moments, but watch the mind. Watch the mind as far as attachments go. Is the mind desiring to go into the past or the future for a particular reason? Is it chasing something? Is it trying to find comfort in something? Otherwise, focus on the breath or focus on relaxing the body. Continue sweeping, continue scanning. Work on whatever part of the body that the stress or tension keeps coming back into. Bring your awareness back to the body again. Just ask yourself how you feel again, like we did in the beginning of the meditation. See if anything has changed. What was the label that you used earlier? Is it still the same or is it different? I feel good or I feel relaxed. I feel drowsy. I feel excited. Just see what's there. No right or wrong. We can bring our hands together in front of us, if you like. May each one of us and all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to us. May no difficulties come to us. May we all meet with spiritual and worldly success. And may we have the patience, the courage, and the understanding to meet and overcome any problems or any difficulties that we might face. Thank you.